Well, good morning and welcome back to Exit 45 Restorations. Today I've got more of an instructional video for you. We got a SAAB here that the key won't turn. And from everything I've seen on the internet, this is a very common problem. And since I've got to go into this thing and tear it apart and get it fixed or figure out why it's doing what it's doing and get it fixed, why don't I bring you along and give you as many pointers and details as I can, because what I've seen out there, there's not a lot of pointers or details. So let's get at it. Let's get this thing fixed. Also, you're probably going to know that if you watch my channel, I just did a will it run on this. So I've already fixed it, but I need to separate out the part for the key so that I can make it where it's searchable for just the key problem. So this is kind of a duplicate of the will it run, and the will it run doesn't have near as much detail as this one's going to have on the key problem. All right, so that's kind of what's going on with that. Let's get it done. So last night, sat down, got on the computer, did a little bit of research, trying to figure out what can I find, why is this happening. Essentially what's happening, I don't know if I really explained this very well, but I can't turn the key. No matter what I do, I can wiggle the shifter, I can wiggle the key, I've sprayed penetrating oil, WD-40, you name it, I've done it. Everything they say to do, except pull the center console out, and tear it apart. There's a reverse lockout on these, and that seems to be the problem. So this is not a fun console to tear out. It's really in a small area, so I'm going to have to pull the passenger seat to get me some room. Once I get the seat out, then I should be able to get in there. I can start pulling this thing apart. And I think what's happening is there's like a thing in there, whatever. It's supposed to be moving, and I think it's maybe gummed up pretty bad or something of that nature. I really don't know until I dig in there. So let me show you where I'm at, and then we'll go from there. All right. Okay, so here we are. Key's going into here. It won't turn from that position. So I can put the key in it, and that's it. That's as far as it'll go. It stays in the lock position. And I can play with this all I want, but I can't get that to free up. And I have been trying. I've tried several times when I picked the car up. I've tried for quite a while yesterday. It's been sitting overnight with some penetrating oil in it to clean up any gook or whatever, and that hasn't done anything. So the reverse lockout, whatever that function is or how it works in there, is clearly where the problem is. So there's a screw up front here, and then back here I got to pull the ashtray, and then there's a couple of screws there, and this thing should just come up and off. But you can see it's a pretty tight area down here. It'd be a whole lot easier if I can get this seat out of here. So let me get started on that. I got it. Okay. All right. So you can slide this back here. We're gonna put this. Whatever. Hey, Pep. Come on. Oh, come on. There you go. There you go. Go ahead and explore. What you doing, Pep? Checking out everything? How come you didn't get those mice that were underneath the hood? Huh? What's up with that? Am I feeding you too much? Are you getting fed too much? Alright. So, these are the two screws I'm trying to get out, and they turned out that they are Torx bit. And like that, like a glove. Alright, let me get them out. Alright, so I've got the screws back here. You can see it's loose. I got the screws up here. So this whole thing's loose, but you can see with this cover here, I can't get it up past the shift knob. So it looks like there's some screws right here. There's 3 of them that I'm going to have to pull off to get this shift knob to come up. Or at least that's what I hope. So let me get that, and then I'll show you what I got when I'm done with it. Alright guys, so been struggling with this because, let me show you. We had that on there. Then we had the shift knob on here. And you couldn't get this off to get, you know, the whole console out. So this, you had to loosen up this, like a nut right here. You had to get these two, and then this here, you can just, screws off, comes off. And then that just comes off. And now, we should be able to get this off. But I'm probably going to need 2 hands to do that. Anyway, I just wanted to show you. And if it works, you won't hear from me again on it. If it don't, well, I'll let you know. Alright, so, as you can see, I got it off. There's a connector here. Once you get it up and you can get it off of there, there's a connector right there. There was a connector that went up here. This is right behind the shifter. And that is right there. So, all of this is now off of there. I can get it up out of the way. And now you put it down there. There we go. All right. You can kind of see what we got going on. So it looks to me like, what is this? Oh, it's a light. So okay. So there's another. You're gonna have to know, be aware of this. That light's gonna have to be put back in. I don't know how in the world I'm gonna do that when this thing's going back on, but that is for another time to figure out. All right. So I guess the next thing is I need to get this off, and from watching the video, this is the real trick right here. Let me get you in a little bit better. You can see there's this kind of, I don't even know, weird thing, but I should be able to get like a screwdriver or a punch or something just to tap that around and get that to come out. And then there's, you can go up underneath the carpet and then go, they're facing downward. They're way down underneath. And they're coming up this way, so you got to get somehow, I guess, get underneath here. Get all this out of your way. And see if we can get the light a little bit more here so we can try and see what's going on. All right. Maybe you can see a little bit better now. This is the whole mechanism here. And there's some screws up underneath that we have to get to. And you can just get up underneath here to get to them, it looks like. And then this whole thing, yeah, there's another one of those weird, there's 3 of them, looks like. So there's one here, and there's 2 here. The videos that I've looked at are very uninformative. They only show the one. So there are actually 2 more. Some of the chat boards were saying, just get a 10 mil socket and then just grind out, to have these tabs so you can just use that. That may be a better option. I don't know if I can get into these tighter spots.
Might not need to.
Anyway, we got to do all that to get to the bottom of the tumbler here so that we can find out, if this reverse lockout mechanism is what's causing our problem. So all of this just to see if that's our problem. All right, let me get at it. All right, guys, so I'm sitting all cramped up in this car. One of the problems to, and I think I just showed it to you, was those 3 special nuts that they've got that are near impossible to get to. I tried, you know, with a hammer and screwdriver to try and tap them around and get them to break loose. I couldn't get them. I saw on one of the chat boards somebody said to notch out a socket to fit in there. I tried it, and it worked. Let me show you. All right, guys, so I wanted to show you real quick the tool that I made. Let me get it to, there you go. So you can see. There you go. You see that? Just ground out some areas and it worked. I mean, honestly, what you have to do is you have to just go through some sockets, find one that's going to fit in the hole that's there perfectly, and then you can just notch out those flats. And I'm sorry, this thing's losing its focus on me. Come on. Oh, you had it. This camera's trying. Oh, you've seen it. Anyway, so that's what I used to get those crazy triangle bolt. All right, so here's the deal. I've got well, I can't really do this, guys. It's tough. Okay, so all those special, let me get here. So those special screws that are right there and right there, and the one up front are right here. I got those all out. Wasn't a terrible problem, but what I'm having a problem with is this venting right here sits right on top of this, and the only way I can get that out, because there's one solid piece and the carpet's one solid piece going across, so I had to pull this out. So there's a screw here and right there, and then over here on the side there's a small screw up here, and then on the same on the other side. Those all had to come out, and as you can see now, that's all loose. So let me get that out of the way. It's like a puzzle. I'm constantly having to pull stuff to get to something. Did not sign up for this, guys. Did not sign up for this. All right, so here's where we're at. I've got all the center console out in this area, and I thought, okay, that's going to get me access to this ducting that runs all the way up over to the other side. This is one piece. Now, if you can see here, that one piece is sitting over top of this. This will not come up. I can't find any way of getting to any way to get this to move. And right now, this has to come straight up off of these bolts, and it can't because of this plastic. So I'm going to take my body saw. I'm going to try and cut along, along right here, up along here, and down, and get rid of all this plastic across the top of this, and see if that frees this thing up to come, pull right up off of there. I don't know.
We'll see.
This was not designed to come apart, I can tell you that. SAAB should not have been making cars. They should have stuck to airplanes. All right. Okay, so remember them screws I said that were up underneath here? Well, those had to come out, and I got them, as you can see. But then that wasn't the fun part. Getting those out was actually fairly easy. But there's your shifter lever, and then there's your or I guess rod. I guess it's a cable. There's a cable that goes out of the car, and this was all in there with an Allen wrench and a keeper. That wasn't any fun to get to. Going back together with this is going to be just awesome. Anyways, just so everybody can see, this is turning into a crazy video and a crazy time, but we got it. Now I can take this to the bench, and I can pull these screws right there. We can get to that side of it and figure out why is this shifting unit not functioning properly. All right, let's go to the bench and get out of this car. Woo! All right, so now that we got this out of the car and on the bench, one of the things that we found was this switch right here. It looks like it's a positioning switch. There's a connector or whatever, electrical switch or whatever here that this rode in. And it was clearly telling the computer or something what position the gear selector was in. And what we found is, you see here, this was not on there. So we're going to solder that back on. That may have been some of our problem, hard to say, but we're going to get it fixed at least. So, all right, we're going to get that, and then we'll get back to tearing this thing apart. All right, so there you go. You can see now it's re-secured, so we're going to press on and get in under the bottom side here and get to this mechanism right here and the key tumbler right here. There's a lever in there that's blocking this from moving, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to take this all apart. We're going to clean it up really good, and then we're going to see if we can't get this thing operating properly, and then we'll go back in the car. All right, we're going to take this apart, and I'm just going to keep bringing you in at every step so you guys can see. We're not going to just let the camera run on this. We're just going to go step by step through this. So let us get this off, and then we'll go from there. So this here was on here like this, and those screws are in there like that. So you can pull that back out. And then this just came off, but it was also holding this side in. You see this here. This came out of here. That was right there. Anyway, so that came off. The top plate and the bottom plate both come off when you take those screws out. So we'll set that aside for now, and then we're going to dig into the internals of this. So you can see here, there's this gear right here, and then there's a rod right down in there, as you can see it right there. And that is where our problem lies. So we've got to figure out something may have gotten out of sync. I don't know what happened, but we're going to dig into that right now. All right, so let us play. All right, so the next thing that we've done is we've taken the screws from both sides of the switch, and then we pulled that out. Then you can see inside there the mechanism between the key, the switch, and your reverse lockout lever. So what we have found is they all seem to be meshed up and doing the right thing. So what we think we end up with is a bad switch or a bad tumbler. We think the key maybe just, wore down too much, and we're just not getting that tumbler to unlock. So we're working on trying to figure out how to get this out. Some of the videos I've watched trying to lead up to this, they show pinholes on the side that they're pushing, but there are no pinholes on the side. The only hole that I can find right here is that hole right there. You can see it below the gear there. I tried pushing on that to see if I can't get something to release. But we haven't been able to get it yet, so we're going to keep trying. And when I figure out how to get that out, I'll let you know. All right? All right, so we have made progress. And no, it was nothing to do with getting the tumbler out, because that wasn't our problem. Because, look, it works. This was so gummed up in here that the key, you couldn't turn it. I had to keep working it with I took a screwdriver in here, and I just kept working it little by little, and then eventually I was able to start getting it to move with the key. So I've been hitting it with some brake cleaner, and look at that. Everything works fine. Whoa, easy, killer. Anyway, so you can go all the way here, and then, so we got that out of the way, and then the shifter now goes all the way nice and easily like it's supposed to. That was not happening. You put the key in the lock position, and that's it. You can't get it into reverse. So the mechanism inside here seems to be working. So now it looks like it's time to put it back together. I don't know if I'm going to put it fully back together. I'm thinking we'll put this back in. We'll walk it over to the car. We'll plug everything back in. And then we will test the operation of this key with the power on the car to make sure everything's working and that we don't have any issues. All right, guys. Well, as you can tell, we have everything back together. And watch this. And springs back.
Everything works.
And it works. So it looks like it just needed a good cleaning. But when you look on the chat rooms and stuff and they say, oh, you got to pour a bunch of, cleaner or, penetrating lube down in this area, all the area that needed to be cleaned was down in here. And that wasn't getting there. And I was just gummed up and you couldn't get it to turn with the key. And once I was able to pry it, I talked about that a second ago, pry with a screwdriver and really get that start moving. Then I could turn it with the key, but really hard. And then once I hit it with the brake cleaner, then it just like butter, works great. So now the fun job of putting this back in the car, that's gonna suck. But it has to be done. Here we go. Let's do it. Okay, we're back in the car, and I'm super excited about that. Okay, so I want to go over real quick because I don't know, I can't remember how much I went over when I pull all this apart. So this right here is the shift linkage. And this here, let me see if I can get you in there a little better, but this here goes through here on your shifter. Okay? And then once that goes through there,
Did you drop it?
I just dropped it again.
You want the magnet?
Oh my gosh. All right, just a second. I dropped the stupid C-clip and I got to find it again. Okay, sorry about that. I just wanted to show you. There's the C-clip. And then that's going to go right there. All right, so once you get that through here, then we'll put the C-clip on. That's the challenge, honestly. That was not fun to get off, and so getting this on is going to be equally as challenging. So I'm going to fight this, but I just wanted you to see how all this plays together. And then once you get all this, then we can bolt this plate and this back together. And they bolt from underneath. So there's, right here, these bolts go from underneath like that into here. Into here, on here. So, okay, so that makes sense? I hope so. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this now. Okay, so let me get you back in here real quick, show you what's going on. Oh, this is... Sorry about all this, guys, but... All right, you see... Let me get here. All right, so you see right there? It's an Allen screw that once you put the C-clip on down here, then there's this Allen screw that goes in, and I think it's just to hold and lock you in place on this cable. Kind of an adjustment. I have no idea how to adjust it or if it's correct, because once I put this plate and this together, I can't get to this. So I don't know. I'm gonna. I am going to. Well, that's true. We'd have to move the shifter into a different position. But we're going to tighten this anyways, and if we can get to it afterwards, if it needs adjusting, then that's what we'll do. But we're going to tighten it for now where it's at, which it already is. But I just wanted to show you that as well. So you got this screw, which looks like it's an adjustment screw. All right, so now we're going to put this and this together, okay? And that's just going to be like I showed you. These bolts come up from the bottom up and into here. Oh, that could have been bad. And into here. So, all right, let me get that done, then I'll show you when I get it. Okay, so it's time to get you guys caught up to where I'm at. All right, so lift that up just a little bit. Okay, so this right here is a switch, it looks like a shift lever position switch. There's 2 screws on this side and on this side. Pretty simple. You just got to make sure that this little thing here is riding in that. So as you move this, that, I don't know, could you see that? So you see how that moves with it. You want to make sure that that's in there and then just bolt it down. Pretty simple. There's this green wire plugs into this white wire right here. You got that. And then you have all of these that have to be plugged into your switch. So that's as far as we've gotten on this so far. So we've got the cable underneath secured. We've got our shift lever position switch right here, wired or screwed back in and set with the shifter knob. And then we have our ignition switch plugged back in. So now we're going to do, if you remember these crazy, funky, bolts, I don't even know what you call them, but we're going to put those on in these 3 different places here. And one of the things that is probably good to know right here, if you look, it's a carriage bolt. And there's a metal bracket, and you're not going to be able to see it, but you got to go up underneath this metal bracket, and then it comes up through there, and then screw these on. So it's going to take somebody got to get underneath there. You got to hold it with your finger, and then screw the other thing in. It's going to be very difficult, but that's the only way that can be done. And that's a damn weird thing to do, is to put something that like that in such a tight spot underneath there. But I guess it's par for the course. Everything on this thing's been that way. All right, so I'm going to struggle with this. So I'm going to get this one, and then this one back here. Get all 3 of those in. Get this thing locked down. And then before we button all up, all this back up, we should be able to put power to this and see if we got all this working. So fingers crossed. Let me get all this in. All right, guys. So let me get you kind of caught up where we're at. So we've got this thing fully mounted in the car. Let me get this light situated. I'm sorry. All right, so you can see I got the 2 crazy nuts secured back there. We have all the electrical has been plugged back in. This switch here has been installed. And so everything is back to the way it was. So let me show you here real quick, if I can get this light to cooperate. Sorry, lights are just a pain. All right, well, anyways, so you can see it goes all the way through. But the key, let me get turned here, works. So, you can't really see this. It's hard to see. But everything works. So the only problem I'm having right now is this shift knob isn't adjusted to the cable and the transmission. And what I'm having a problem with is when I go forward, it's not going all the way into park. So when I go to turn the key to try and turn the car over, it won't. But if I go back until I find neutral, then it will turn the engine over. So what I'm doing, let me show you. All right, so let me show you what I'm doing here. This is really going to be tricky to show you. All right. So if you can see down inside there where I'm pointing right now, there's a little Allen screw. And that's what tightens the shift knob to the cable. And so what I'm trying to do now is loosen that, adjust this in the direction I need it to go, then retighten it. And I'm going to do that until I can get this thing to go all the way to park and lock. Right now I can push it up in there, but then it just pulls right out. It doesn't lock. That's because it's just out of adjustment. So I got to keep working on getting this adjusted until this locks into the park position. Because until this switch here, right here, sees this in the locked and park position, it won't let the car start in the park position. Even though the transmission is in park, this doesn't think so. So we have to adjust all of that until this comes up and locks. So that's what I'm doing now. It's just that little tiny screw right there. And they got this neat little, notch so you can get to it, but then they got this in the way, this vent system. And I can't get that out. It goes all over the place, and there's no way of getting that out without tearing a lot out. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I just wanted to bring you in and show you that. All right, so I've finished working on the rigging like we talked about with the set screw back in there. And watch this. I can come out of park and back into park. It's all rigged now, so see, now it's in park all the way up on the switch now, and the key turns, and we'll turn the engine over with it now in the park position. So this is fully rigged. That was a pain, but it is all fully rigged now. So I get to put it together. So let's start that process of getting everything, reverse what we did. So, all right. Where are you taking me, huh? Come over here. Come here. Come over here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Well, come here. There you go. You say hey to everybody? Say hey to everybody. Yeah, come here. Where you going? I ain't following. All right. I gotta get back to work, buddy. Okay, guys, so I've got the center console all done. All back in. Everything's where it should be. And even better, I spent a day and a half at least just trying to get this key to turn. That's all I've been trying to do so I can see if this thing will run. But there you go. She turns. I can now move the stick. And it works. So the key works beautifully, and no more problems there. All right, you guys. You guys ready? I mean, I am so ready. I've been cramped up in this little car now for almost 2 days. So let's turn the key. Let's see what we got. All right. Did you hear that? That was weird. All right, here we go. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody following along. I hope this video helped in some way for anybody who's having this problem. So if you have any questions, maybe I didn't explain something or something didn't come across quite right, comments, my email's in the description. However you want to do it, that's fine. But get a hold of me. I'd be glad to give you any information I may have. Other than that, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all those good things. And share, that's another good one. But we'll see you on the next video, okay? I don't know, I don't do typically instructional videos. But when I come across something like this where I know there's a need for it, I don't have a problem doing them. So, all right. Appreciate it. I'll see you on the next video.